Have you ever heard the mysterious story of Andrew Irvine on Mount Everest? Andrew Irvine was a British mountaineer who attempted to summit Mount Everest in 1924. Along with George Mallory, Irvine set out to reach the summit, but tragically disappeared during the expedition. The fate of Irvine remains unknown to this day, as his body has never been found. Many theories speculate what may have happened to Irvine, including a possible successful summit before his disappearance. The mystery surrounding Andrew Irvine's fate adds to the mystique of Mount Everest as the ultimate challenge for climbers. His story continues to captivate and inspire mountaineers to this day. In 1924, Andrew Irvine, a 22-year-old British mountaineer, set out on an expedition that would ultimately become one of the most mysterious chapters in the history of Everest. Though Irvine was relatively inexperienced in high-altitude climbing, he was known for his remarkable intelligence and mechanical skills. A student of engineering at Merton College, Oxford, Irvine's ability to fix and maintain the oxygen equipment used on the expedition made him a valuable member of the team. His strong physical condition, as well as his determination, were qualities that made him a fitting companion for one of the most ambitious mountaineers of the time. George Mallory. The 1924 British Everest expedition, led by Colonel Charles Bruce, was one of the most daring attempts to summit Everest at the time. The team included several seasoned climbers, including Mallory, who had already attempted the summit in 1922, and Irvine, who was the youngest member of the group. The expedition's goal was clear: to achieve the first ever ascent of Mount Everest, a peak that had long eluded explorers, with no one yet having reached the summit. In those days, the technology and techniques of mountaineering were in their infancy. For the first time, supplemental oxygen was used in an effort to combat the severe altitude sickness that typically plagued climbers at Everest's extreme heights. Irvine was tasked with ensuring the oxygen equipment functioned correctly, a crucial responsibility, as the team's success relied on the ability to breathe at higher altitudes. On June 8, 1924, Mallory and Irvine set out from their camp at a staggering altitude of 8,200 meters, 26,900 feet, determined to make their summit attempt. At this point in history, no one had climbed higher than 8,000 meters, and the summit of Everest stood an imposing 8,848 meters, 29,029 feet above sea level. Their route was the Northeast Ridge, one of the most challenging and technical sections of the mountain, known for its steep rock faces and icy slopes. The ridge also presented the infamous rock steps, which would later become a major obstacle for all those attempting the climb. At around noon on June 8th, Mallory and Irvine were seen by fellow climber Noel Odell, who was observing them through a telescope from a lower camp on the mountain. Odell described the pair scaling a dramatic rock step, believed to be either the second or third step on the ridge, making strong progress toward the summit. This was the last confirmed sighting of the true climbers before they vanished into a thick mist, never to return. As the weather closed in, Odell lost sight of them, and they were never seen alive again. What happened after that final sighting remains one of the greatest mysteries in mountaineering history. Did Mallory and Irvine reach the summit? Or did they turn back just short of their goal, exhausted and overwhelmed by the harsh conditions? If they did reach the summit, why did they not return? Did they encounter a fatal accident during their descent? Or was it a failure of the oxygen system which could have left them gasping for air at extreme altitudes. The most tantalizing aspect of this mystery is the possibility that Mallory and Irvine may have succeeded in reaching the summit of Everest in 1924, nearly 3 decades before Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay's widely accepted ascent in 1953. If they had reached the top, it would have been a monumental achievement, positioning them as the first humans to stand on the highest point on Earth. But without definitive proof, the question remains unanswered. In 1999, a breakthrough came when Mallory's body was discovered at an altitude of 8,155 meters, usually 6,160 feet, on the north face of Everest by an American expedition. Mallory's body was remarkably well preserved, though he had suffered a fatal fall. His body was found with a few personal items, including a watch. But notably, there was no photograph of his wife Ruth, which he had reportedly promised to leave on the summit of Everest. This raised the possibility that Mallory may have made it to the top and was returning when he met his end. Yet, despite the discovery of Mallory's body, Irvine's remains have never been found. His body, along with the Kodak camera Mallory was believed to be carrying, remains the key to unlocking the mystery of their summit attempt. Many believe that Irvine's body could be hidden in a crevasse, buried under snow or rocks, or even somewhere near the summit itself. In the years following Mallory's discovery, numerous expeditions have scoured Everest in search of Irvine's body. Some believe that Irvine may have perished just below or near the summit, possibly after Mallory's death, while others think that Irvine's body may be lost in an area still out of reach for modern-day climbers. One of the most critical pieces of evidence that could provide clarity on whether they reached the summit is the Kodak camera Mallory carried. If the camera were found, it could potentially hold photographs of the summit, offering definitive proof of whether Mallory and Irvine succeeded in their historic ascent. Over the years, many theories have emerged about what may have happened to Mallory and Irvine. Some mountaineers believe that Mallory and Irvine did indeed make it to the summit, but were unable to descend due to the extreme physical toll of the climb, exhaustion or oxygen failure. Others suggest that the pair turned back just shy of the summit, deterred by the technical challenges or the inability to proceed due to equipment failure. In either case, their disappearance has inspired a sense of intrigue that continues to puzzle mountaineers. The mystery has only grown over time, with each new search for Irvine's body or the camera adding to the allure of the unknown. Andrew Irvine's story is a testament to the spirit of early mountaineering, ambitious, fearless, and willing to risk everything in pursuit of glory. Though his life was tragically cut short, Irvine's determination and courage live on. His story, intertwined with that of George Mallory, symbolizes the early pioneers of Everest whose audacity and will to conquer the world's highest peak paved the way for future expeditions. Everest, with its towering peaks and relentless challenges, continues to be the ultimate test for climbers around the world. The mystery of Irvine's fate remains one of the great unsolved questions of mountaineering. And it is this air of uncertainty that continues to inspire generations of climbers to take on the ultimate challenge, following in the footsteps of those who dare to dream of reaching the top of the world.